I am welcoming Tron Walker today. Tron, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. I'm Tron Walker, a senior sales agent at a local insurance company here in San Antonio. Thank you so much.
Tron, do you have a framework that students or people can apply whenever they come to a sales conversation?
Yeah, so definitely one of the best frameworks for students or any person in sales is to apply to any meetings of any clients is listen to the cues that client is giving you as well as any clues, right? And based off of those cues, you ask informed in questions about those things and then respond after they answer those questions, respond to the questions by building the value on what they ask for and always ask for the business. And if they say no, ask follow-up questions as to why they wouldn't want to get that product or service with you, right? Because then if you know the why, it can better help you to formulate the questions or bring it back to the cue or clue that they gave you earlier and say, remember you said this, this is why this may be best for you because you had already established that this is something that you wanted. And that's why this may be the best product or service for you. So that's the type of framework you should kind of follow, but tweak it to your conversations with those clients.
Beautiful, beautiful framework. I love that. And I like how you said tweak it to the conversations too, because after all, if we're principle driven by a deep curiosity for matching the needs of that specific person and building that relationship so that you can match the needs in the right way, then this kind of a framework or formula fits within and over that specific idea of building a
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah, definitely. You can apply it to almost any situation, even marriage. So I hear. I'm joking.
I love that. Can you speak a little bit to students who might be interested in sales, who don't have any sales experience at all and just want to kind of dip their toe into the sales workforce? What are some things they need to know before they try to sign up for a sales job?
Oh, that's a really great question. So one of the things when you're coming into sales, um, don't have the mindset of you're being nosy. It's your job to understand the needs of that person to help them make the best informed decision for themselves and their family. And so that's a really good question. And I think a lot of times sales agents think that they're intruding, or if that was them, they wouldn't want to have that discussion. But it's all about if you don't ask the questions, they don't know that person doesn't know what they may not be protecting or need a protection for. So that's the importance of that.
I love that. Can you give me some examples of the kinds of questions that might be more powerful than other questions?
Yeah. One of the questions would be asking that customer or client what's most important to them. Like, so what's their end goal? That's really what you're trying to figure out is what they're wanting to accomplish and why they want to accomplish that. Whether if they purchase a new car, why are you purchasing this new car? Are you having a baby? Did your car break down? Like, what's the long term goal of that of purchasing that vehicle, or buying a house? Why did you buy a house? Right? What made this a really great time to purchase that house or to get that particular item? And why did you get that item opposed to some other item or some other house or some other thing? Yeah. So that's one of the things. Mhm.
I love that. I know that a lot of people might have their defenses up when they're asked a question like, "Hey, why did you do that?" Because a lot of
Mhm.
times we think of sales agents in the wrong light. That we don't think of them as what they truly are, which is here to serve and match us with our best needs, right? Match
Yes.
our needs with the best products. Uh,
Mhm.
I wonder how do you negotiate the tension between making sure that you're asking the right questions and making sure that you're making the customer or the person feel at ease in that conversation.
Oh, that's really good. I'm naturally a happy person. So for me it's a little bit easier than someone else who might be a bit more transactional, but I get excited with the members. So whatever they're doing, I'm excited for. I'm happy that they're making that change in their life and I relay that to them. And sometimes it's just a little bit of just saying, thank you for this or appreciate you calling for this or how can I best serve you today? Just little things like that where, they don't feel like, oh, you're just another person or you're doing it just because you're going to get a commission. Because not everybody works on commission or not everybody benefits because of that transaction. It's really about probably the company that sometimes they may work for. And that's basically how I come at it. I'm just, just get excited, like if it was me, I would want you to get excited if I was purchasing a new car. Yes. Why this car? Oh, this is the car I always wanted. Like,
Mm.
oh, what's particular about that car that you always wanted? Well, it can seat six children. So I'm a soccer mom or I do this. And so all of those things kind of help them tear down whatever walls or defenses they have in having that kind of conversation, right? And so what they tell you, the reason for the purchase often helps them to understand why you're bringing that in. So you incorporate the reason why they purchase that item into what other things may help them or protect them or serve them.
How do you avoid that idea of, "Oh, you're trying to sell me something and I don't want it." It sounds like you do so by just connecting on a personal level and
Yeah.
asking questions and making those connections on a personal level.
Yeah, no, I mean, every once in a while, I do have a client who will say, "You're just trying to sell me a product," and I inform them, right? Because sometimes when you're having conversations with people and you ask them questions, it's always good to set up that conversation just to let you know I'll be asking you questions throughout this conversation so I can better assess your needs instead of just going in there asking questions, right? You set the foundation, but then when you have those members, well, you're just trying to sell me something. Well, I brought this up because you said X, Y, and Z, not because I'm just throwing paint on the wall, right? You alert to that, so that's what grabbed my attention that you may need this other service. But if you don't, I'm just providing you with the information. So if you decide that's something you want, you can eventually get and know that you can have it.
I wonder, what are some of the most common objections and how you overcome those objections whenever you see them?
Ooh, some of the common ones are I need to speak to my spouse about it. What else? Uh, Sometimes I'm running out of time, and we totally understand that mood, time, and interest. But with the spouse, I was like, well, number one, what kind of questions? Since you are married and you have that spouse, you kind of know how they think. So, what kind of questions would they want to know, or so that I can better present it to you, so you can set yourself up in that conversation to help them understand, right? Or um, how about we get them on the phone so I can answer those questions or relieve any kind of doubts that you may have in purchasing this product that you established that you had the need for. Those are just some of the things that I feel like is beneficial. It doesn't always work because, we understand that people have jobs and they can't always take calls while they're at work. Um, but at least they know that, hey, I'm here to support you, and that's really what my job is for, and that's what I'm about. But those are basically some. I can't really think of others, but I'm quite sure they are. It's just those two really is always the spouse, right? Um, and sometimes what I sometimes incorporate is like they say, well, I have to speak to my spouse, right? That's what they'll say, and I was like, let me ask you this: do your spouse think that you would have a problem getting this policy if they knew you were saving $600 a year? Would that really be a problem with your spouse that you're keeping more money in the household? Right. And so I get them to think like, well, right. Because at any time in any sales position, it may be available today, doesn't mean it's available tomorrow. So that opportunity to save may not be present the next day. So what do what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? How can you best support your family, right? Because most people need that 600, 500, even $100 extra a year for their families. So I get them to think think, think why would I wait? Things like that. Yeah.
So you mentioned some really important concepts there, like fear of missing out and opportunity cost, right? And raising that, putting that objection that they have in context, using these techniques of fear of missing out or opportunity cost. Are there any other principles that tend to come up again and again, like fear of opportunity loss or fear of missing out or opportunity cost?
I think I want them to really contemplate what is the reason, what's the what's holding them back, right? Because if you can understand what's holding you back, you can understand how you can make it better for that person, right? And sometimes it's just little things as well. Like a person will say, "No, I don't want the policy now." And I said, "Well, let me ask you, why wouldn't you want it now?" And they'll say something like, "Well, I don't have the money." Well, you don't have to make a down payment. It's not really required at this time for certain places, right? Certain places there is a requirement for that money right away. But if it's not, and you don't have to pay anything for a month or two and get the protection or the peace of mind that you need, why not do it?
What are some paradigms or principles that you use as you navigate your conversations where you're trying to really help match needs with product lines or match needs with things that people will be able to use or protect them for the rest of their lives?
Oh, really good question. So I am a very honest person, and I like to tell the clients, if I have to lie to you to get you to do this, I'm in the wrong profession, right? And so I want to present the best picture for you and your family. It's really about you telling me X, Y, and Z. So I found out your situation is you, for example, you have a baby on the way, you're looking to purchase a home. Well, what are your concerns about that? You have a baby on the way. Have you thought about protecting your family? Like if something was to accidentally happen, or if one of you were to accident, to decease before your time, or if you were got into a car accident, like things like that. How are you? What are your concerns in all that you're going on? Does all that's going on in your life? And it's my job to help you with whatever the concerns are to get you maybe the product you need to reduce that concern, right? So then you could lay your head down at night on your pillow and be like, okay, I know that at least I got this done, so I don't have to worry about this for my kids, right? One of the things I often bring up to people who have children, I just mentioned things like, have you thought of a liability policy, right? And they think, well, why would I need that? I was like, well, when I look and see your account, I see that you have 3 children. With those 3 children, what if something was to happen if little Susie was playing basketball and the basketball hit somebody in the head, another kid, now that kid's paralyzed. You might be responsible for that. How are you going to protect your assets if that happens? How are you going to protect your assets if little Johnny sends a text message to somebody and now their parents are offended and they want to sue you? Like, how are you going to protect yourself? And not saying that your children would do that, but it's not always about what they do. If they're accused of something, you have to defend yourself. And so I just kind of paint the picture like, I hope, it never occurs, but that doesn't mean because I hope it doesn't happen, right? Um, but yeah, those are just things. It's always about what the member, let me rephrase that. It's always about what the client needs and um, how it will benefit them. And sometimes, even if they can't afford it at that time, at least I planted the seed that, hey, when you do have the money, really look into this service or this product to better protect you.
When do you know when to stop? So, for example, an
Hmm.
objection is raised. They say,
Hmm.
"I can't afford it. I love what you're saying. I just can't afford it." When do you know when to stop sharing those kinds of things that you just shared with us? When do you know when to stop? I don't want to say pushing, but speaking, right? When do you know when to say,
Yeah.
"Okay, this person obviously can't afford it. I don't want them. I don't want to lose a future sale." So how do
Yeah.
you negotiate that line to where you're not being too pushy as you sell?
Yeah, no, I think you should never be pushy when you're selling anything. You should provide the information so that the person can be successful. So one of the things, if I know that they don't have the money at that time, I said, that's okay. What you can do is, once you get to a place where you know that you can have what you need, at least the minimum, and when you And when your income increases, then know that you can always come back to us, right? You always have that option to come back. This is just because you can't get it today doesn't mean that you can't get it a year or 10 years from now. That's not what we're saying. It's better for you to protect your family any way you can right now instead of just getting the product that I'm trying to sell to you. That's not the end goal. The end goal is for your protection and have you to think outside of what you're actually encountering. Like when you go to the next company, ask these kind of questions to see what they're offering. Because every product or every contract is not the same.
What is one specific piece of advice that you would give someone who is new to the profession of sales?
Ooh, that's another great question. So, one piece of advice I would, or maybe two or three, I would give to a person coming to sales is just because you heard no from one person, don't have the mindset of no, because the next person may not say no. But if you're carrying around the no from the last person, you may not be your best in that new conversation, which may hinder you from moving forward. Because if you're not giving your all in it, and that person senses that, they won't trust you to get the product or service from you. I think that's probably one of the things, and sometimes it's very hard for people to overcome no, especially if you heard it maybe 5 or 10 times in a day. It can be, distressing and difficult, but know that, as long as you are consistent, somebody will say yes, and it only takes that one yes to keep you moving forward. So, just don't feel defeated when you hear a no. Always think, "That's their loss. Next." Yeah.
That's wonderful. I love that. What's the most important action item that someone should take today to prepare for a career in the sales field?
So I would say work on your soft skills and practice communicating with people. Like if you're shy, just try to start up conversations with people and ask like random questions just to get your just to have be able to build that conversation so that it's not so transactional when you're actually doing the job. You want to build a relationship, not just have a conversation, not just be transactional. You have a conversation with a purpose instead of just having a conversation or just having doing that transaction. And a lot of people miss out on that.
I love that. So practice the frame of building relationships and
Mhm.
not the perspective or the lens of looking at as a transactional relationship. I think that that can really help you more than just with sales, right? I think that
Yeah.
that applies to a lot of things. Fantastic. Tron, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people find you online?
You can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn at Tron Walker. Please send me messages. Let me know what you're thinking. I say even let's get the conversation started about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what you want to do and make that change where you're at. And let's work together and accomplish great things.
Awesome. Tron, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise.